The Get Along Gang and the Big Bully. Written by Margot Lundell. Interior illustrations by Daryl Baker. One summer day in Green Meadow, the Get Along Gang headed for the swimming hole. On the way, they crossed Old Troll Bridge. "Mean, scary trolls used to live under here," said Dotty Dog. "They made people pay them money to cross the bridge." "Dotty, are you sure there aren't any trolls anymore?" asked Portia Porcupine. Portia sounded scared. She was the littlest member of the gang. "Gotcha, Portia," said Rocco Rabbit, grabbing Portia from behind. "Under the bridge with you!" Portia began to cry. "Let her go, Rocco," said Bingo Beaver. "I bet you'd be scared too if somebody did that to you." "No, I wouldn't," said Rocco, the toughest member of the gang, as he put Portia down. "I'm not afraid of anybody." The gang was glad to get to the swimming hole. Dotty and Montgomery Moose took turns diving off the low branch of the big willow tree. Breaker Turtle took off his glasses and paddled off for a swim near the lily pads. Woolma Lamb didn't want to get her curls wet, so she floated on her raft. Rocco thought splashing Woolma was funny. Woolma didn't agree. After a while, Breaker came out of the water and found his towel. Then he looked for his glasses. "They're gone!" he cried. "My glasses! They're not here where I left them!" Rocco giggled as Breaker bumbled around. "Hey, Breaker!" he shouted. "I think I see your glasses under the pricker bush by that rock. I wonder how they got there." The gang glared at Rocco, but he just smiled. "Gotta go now," he said. "See you later." When Rocco was gone, Montgomery called an emergency meeting of the gang. "We have to do something about Rocco," he said. "He's getting to be a real bully. He makes more trouble than Catchem Crocodile." "I have an idea," said Wilma. "The next time we go swimming, I'll put a worm in Rocco's shoe." Nobody thought the worm was a good idea. "Well, we have to do something," said Wilma. "We can't just ignore Rocco." "That's it," said Dotty. "Bullies want attention. If we don't pay attention to Rocco, maybe he'll stop being a bully." It was a good idea. The gang made a solemn promise to ignore Rocco. The next day, everyone met in Hoofnagel's Ice Cream Emporium. Mr. Hoofnagel, the owner, was in a bad mood because the chocolate syrup that had just been delivered was bitter instead of sweet. When Rocco walked into the emporium, he went and stood at the counter next to Dotty. Then he reached for her soda and drank it down. Uh-oh. There we go. Dotty was furious at Rocco, but she said nothing. She remembered her solemn promise. Suddenly, Rocco reached over and grabbed Zipper's headband. Zipper stood up to get it back. Then he remembered he wasn't supposed to pay attention to Rocco. When Rocco sat on Zipper's stool, Zipper couldn't stay quiet anymore. "Get off my stool!" he shouted at Rocco. "I was there first." "Get out of here, all of you," said Mr. Hoofnagel. "I won't have any fighting in my establishment." The gang left Hoofnagel's and started off toward the clubhouse. Rocco began to follow, but the gang turned on him. Everybody was angry. "You can't go with us," said Zipper. "We don't want you in the club anymore," said Portia. "Let's all cool down," said Montgomery. "We'll see you tomorrow, Rocco." Rocco sat on the curb outside the ice cream emporium. He had nothing to do and nowhere to go. "I didn't mean to make everybody mad at me," Rocco said to himself. "I was only joking." He missed the gang. Suddenly, Rocco noticed Catchem Crocodile and his chum Leland Lizard in the alley next to Hoofnagel's. They were taking the chocolate syrup that Mr. Hoofnagel had set outside. "Stupid get-along gang," Catchem was saying. "Wait until we pour chocolate all over their clubhouse." Catchem was going to mess up the clubhouse. Rocco had to do something. "Hold it, you two!" shouted Rocco, rushing into the alley. Leland jumped at the sound of Rocco's voice. One of the cans of syrup he was carrying spilled all over poor Rocco. Catchem Crocodile laughed at the sight of the chocolate-covered rabbit. "Sorry, Rocco," he said, still chuckling, "but we haven't got time to help you clean up. Come on, Leland, and be quick!" Catchem was still planning to dump chocolate syrup on the clubhouse. Even though Rocco was covered with goo, he was determined to stop Catchem. Rocco knew that Catchem and Leland would have to cross Old Troll Bridge on their way to the clubhouse. He raced through the woods ahead of them, grabbing handfuls of leaves and twigs along the way. Then he hid under the bridge and waited. Soon, Catchem and Leland walked onto the bridge. Suddenly, they heard a gruff, tough voice. "Stop! Who goes there?" said the voice. "Yikes!" cried Leland. "It's a troll!" "Calm down, Leland," said Catchem. "There are no trolls under this bridge." "Yes, there are, boss," Leland stammered. "And we just heard one. Let's get out of here." "I'm not afraid of anything," said Catchem, refusing to budge. "I'll look under the bridge and prove to you that there are no trolls." He passed the chocolate to Leland and leaned over the edge of the bridge. When Catchem and Leland saw Rocco, they both thought he was a troll. "Oh no!" cried Leland, dropping the chocolate. "Run for your life!" shouted Catchem. "To the swamp!" After Catchem and Leland ran away, Bingo Beaver came by on his way to town. He asked Rocco why he was covered with leaves. Rocco told Bingo what had happened. Then he apologized for being a troublemaker. "I've been as awful as Catchem lately," he said. "You're a hero now," said Bingo. "You saved the clubhouse. Stay here while I get Montgomery and the others." The Get-Along gang raced from the clubhouse back to Old Troll Bridge. Then they helped Rocco take off the leaves he'd stuck on himself to look like a troll. Finally, Rocco washed off in the stream. "Rocco, you really aren't afraid of anybody," said Montgomery. "Not even Catchem Crocodile." "Catchem's just a bully," said Rocco. "I know all about bullies. I used to be one." "I still think the worm was a good idea," said Woolma Lamb as the gang started down the road. "The next time I see Catchem barefoot, I'll put one in his shoe." The gang laughed and joked together for the rest of that summer day. The end.